Prone to it. So what is that? Wake it up. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I wasn't wrestling with him, wrestling. Wrestling woman. What? What's wrong with you? Wrestling. I'm not challenging you before, man. I'm going to go ahead and go off the board. I'm letting you. There it is. Yeah. Where are you going? Doesn't matter. You want okay, go. Oh, no. I will. Yeah. Baseball game from the grandson, I'm playing structure, and I put a pay for my healthy, and I won't take my credit card. We're not issuing any more. We're sold out. I've got my car parked in space. You know, they can spend. Like I already something. I kept trying to get one of the streets to help. See that the bypass it. And she tried. Same thing, you know, and I said, well, what's going to happen if I leave my car parked here? Because we will get a minimum $60. Well, I think I'll go move it to the street. I was lucky enough to find out. Street parking was cheaper. Anyway. Jimmy said that it's parked on campus in the parking structure, you know, about $20. Kind of excuse, I'll pay the $20 so I don't have to fight traffic out there on the street. Look at this, you got 40 cars, and you're telling me when you get here. Unbelievable.
In a rough one.
It's kind of like a job. I always tell them, give me a hard time. Hey, John, what time you guys do? It's 10:30. We haven't started the auction yet. What did you do? He said 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. Oh yeah.
10 a.m. I said, well, we hadn't started on the cars yet. I want everybody to hear the cars. I said, if they're not here, they'll be here next week on time.
I agree.
That's the way Glenn used to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hey, good morning, good evening, not morning, it's evening time. Good evening, everybody. Welcome here to Keystone Point, our weekly Thursday evening auction. My name is Ron. We're glad you're here tonight. If you have any issues, let us know. We'll get you back on track. Do keep in mind everything we auction is sold on lien sale paperwork, unless we take otherwise. In which case you may be entitled to it or have to salvage title. Cars are going to have keys. We do not charge for those. If we happen to make a key in order to start a vehicle, I'll do my best to remind you what that key charge is, because that will be added on to your purchase price, all right? The other add-ons are the 10% working tax and the popcorn fee. Okay, so we keep that in mind as we go through it, okay? All right, we also sell everything that says this condition. There are no guarantees, warranties of any kind. Either express or implied as to the make, the model, the year, the color, and anything else. So what you see is what you get. All right, that's the way that works. We'll be open here, probably maybe less than an hour after the auction, get cars released. If you can't get your vehicle out tonight, don't panic. You come back tomorrow between 8 and 12 noon, 8 and 12 noon, go release vehicles, all right? Let's go across the street there. Online folks, you do the same thing. Welcome one and all to you guys as well. All right, we will, take your payment 8 a.m. in the morning and, release cars all the way to 12 noon as well, okay? All right, no 10-day holds tonight, so that's a good thing. Everything's gonna go out the door. Number 2 car on your list. It's not out there, okay? Or maybe out there, but it's not on, the auction today, okay? So cross off number 2, okay? All right, anybody have any questions?
Number 41 has no motor.
And the last car, 41, it's actually across the street, it's not here. It, has no motor and, missing, a couple other things on it, so, we're gonna call it a cold strip, okay? So what you see is what you get there. And, right now you can't see it, so unless you, see pictures of it, we'll put it up on the screen here, bid accordingly, okay? All right, let's go to work. Here's number 1. Here comes the 2017 plus what happens, I've got $200, 2.25, 2.25, 2.5. I got 250, 50, you gotta go 50 down here, 2.25, 250 now, 75, 75, 75, 2.5, 275, 275, I'm gonna go 75, 300. How about $300? 3, not quarter, and a quarter, half, 3.5, quarter share guys, 3.5. I got 250, gonna go 50, 50, and 75, gonna go 375. 4. How about 400 here, and a quarter, gonna go quarter, 4.25. How about quarter, and a quarter here, 25, gonna go 25, 25, so then, at $400, online, all right, number 2, we're not doing, number 3, so, here's a 20, $11, 50. All right, guys, hey, this is not a key charge, that's what we're talking about, over $100, I got down, I got 3 a quarter. How about 3 a quarter, here, you're gonna take a quarter, you're 3 a quarter. How about 3 a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter, quarter, now half. I got a hundred, these 3 a quarter, 350, 75, 4, and a quarter. And a quarter on the side of 4, and a quarter, 40, and a half. I got 100, now 75, I gotta go 475, 5, and a quarter, a half. 5.5, 550, you're gonna go 50, 50, 50, no 75, you're gonna go 75, save, send your number. How about $600? 600, 575, 6, and a quarter, and a half. How about a half? So see what, how much 650, no 75, you're gonna go 75, 675, save 100. How about 7, you're gonna go 7, you're gonna go 7, and a quarter, here, read it, quarter, what do you say? How about 7? I do, I 7 here. 7 a quarter, and a quarter here, we're going to quarter, and a half. And a half, you finally get up. 7 a quarter, 7.5, 75. 775, 75, now 8, and now 800, you guys are all 3 off. 800 here, now 8, here, got our 8 here, quarter here, a half. 8.5, 875. 875, 875, 75, 875, everybody else? At 875, now 9, and a quarter, now half. How about a half, 9 a quarter, 9 and a half. How about 9 and a half? How about not getting, how about 950 here, 950, now 75, now 1,000, and 1,000, that wears off. How about 1,000 to go? How about 1,000 to go here, 1,000 to go, 1,000 to go, and we have a quarter, and a quarter, and a half. How about a half, 18 first, your turn. How about 1,015, we're gonna go 50, 50, oh, 1,050, we're going to 50 here now, 75, 75, 1,100. How about 11 here, come on, guys, let's go. How about 11 here, 11 here up. How about 11 here now, 4 now, and 11 and a half. 11 and a half, how come it doesn't take it every time? 11 and a half. Sold it, thanks. 11.25, he's now put on number 1, number 1, you got it. All right, here we go. Okay, the car was 88. We got that. All right, we got one again, so still on here, 800, 800 400 bucks, I get two, two and a quarter, 2.5, and 75, no free. How about three here, quarter, and a quarter here, three here, quarter and a half, where? How about 315, gonna go 50, 50, 50 now, 75, four. How about 200, not four, not quarter, no half, no 75. How about 75, four and a half here, get 75, $500, not five, 475, five, and now a quarter, and now a quarter, five's over here, how about five, quarter? Quarter, quarter here, quarter here, half, a half, that's 75. How about 75, come on, get by, take first, let's go, on 75. 72, let's go for 75, 75, six, not quarter. How about quarter? Come on, over here, you know, 100 here, 50, gonna go 50 to 75. How about 75? One side, six and a half. How about 675? Gonna go 70 to 75, and 9. 7. How about 7? You'll lead, woke up. 675, 7. It's on site, not quarter. A quarter. On site again is 7. 7 and a quarter. How about 7 and a quarter? 18 first, your turn. How about 7 and a quarter? Now half. I got a half, 7 is what? And a half, 75. How about 75? 75. 75, P first, you're up. How about 75? 7, 75, 75, and we have 7 on site. Yeah, it's 750. Number 4 to 9. Here comes the motion. We're gonna do some next here. All right, so we're going on the bench, they're gonna run here, we're gonna find the We'll be set three, regular quarter. How about regular quarter, my quarter, three's here, need a quarter. How about regular quarter, no solar test? That's 300, we want a quarter, now half, I'm sorry, listen over here, regular quarter, 3.5. I got 315, gonna go 50, 50, 50, 50, 350, 350, on my solar tank. 325. Read the line here. That's a bit wrong. Right, 400 minutes, figure the line here, 8. Three, three and a quarter, three and a quarter, three and a half. I got 350, three and a quarter, 350, 50, 50, 350. I'm a 350, 50 and a half, solar tank, or 325. Yeah, that's a serious time.
You want to log in on I'm
gonna hold.
All right, give me 30 seconds.
He's gonna look in line, see what's going on with it. You logged back out and back in?
Okay, be patient here, we got a little issue with the computer, so we'll get that resolved. Get the show back on the road, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all night Toyota Corolla. Yeah. You want to click on it and see if it lets you? Alright, hold on. Alright, try clicking on it. You're good? Okay. Alright. Alright.
Pull over.
We're good. Good, right? Yeah, he's good. That's it right there.
All right, guys, I think we're good to go. We're on the O9, number 7, colors, the O9, favorite robot. 80 bucks at the Keystone, it does run, runs and runs, we're on the minutes, you're gonna run. Complete the song title, guys. How about 6.5? How about 675? How about 675? We're gonna go 70 for 75 right here, no 7, no quarter, no half, 75, that 8. And the quarter, no half, 850, 50, 850, hands up. 58, 75, 100 now, 40 now, half now, 75. How about 75? Easier, 9.5. 975. now 1,000, and a quarter now half. I got a hand here now 75, I'm gonna go 70 for 75, 10 and a half, 75, 11. I'm 11, then a quarter, then a half, now 75, 11.75. 11.75, 12, now a quarter, now a half, now 75. How about 75, 1 is 12 and a half. How about 12.75, 75, 13. How about 13, 13, and a quarter, and a half, and 75. How about 75, we're gonna go 13.75, 76, okay? And 14, we're gonna go 14. How about 14, you're out, so are you. How about 14, 13.75, 14, 14, now, 14. And 14, 50. How about 14, how about 50, how about 50, 50, 14, how about 50, let 50, let 50, so time for 14, 25. What was it? Eat, eat, zero, is why. Okay, eat car, hold on, I gotta remember that. $4 advantage, $30 each hour, change it right here now. Hey, you can put about 900, put about 900 bucks, three bed, three and a quarter. A quarter and a half, maybe 50, we're gonna go 50, 50, 70, a quarter and a half. How about a half, 4 and a quarter, 450 here now, 75, and a quarter, quarter, pound a quarter, and a half, 50, we're gonna go 50, 50, pound a quarter. How about a half? How about 550, we're gonna go 50, 50, so the thing, 5 and a quarter, on that. All right, here we have number 9, Bob, here's a 9. Hey, for the 100 minutes, a little stretch in the front there. There you go. Oh, here we go. Thank you, $500. How about 500 dollars? Three and a quarter, three and a half. I got 350. Hey, stretch one up. I got 350, 15, gonna go 50, so thank you. 325, number 60 is the five. Number 10. Here's a 98, you have a 75. Straight on the run, negative 100. How about you? Two and a quarter. How about two and a quarter and a quarter here, two and a quarter, what do you say? How about two and a quarter, two and a quarter, two and a quarter, now half. I got a half, I got 50, 75, we're gonna 75, 300. How about 300 and a quarter, he's not betting, I got three and a quarter, three and a quarter, one here, three and a quarter. How about three and a quarter, two and a quarter, and a half? 7.5, no 75. Thank you, point, Jesse. How about 375, negative 75, 75, 75, yes, sir, solid thing. 350, number 6 is, that is the 11 card. This is 99, G. Brandon, right? You know, 2 automatic, 75, 30 bucks a free charge. I got 1,000.
I already got,
Five?
I got 9.
6, 7, 8, 9,000, 11, 12. I got 12 here, 11, we 12 here, 13. I got a half, 13. I got 13 and a half and 14. We're gonna get 14 and a half. Got a half, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19, 2 grand, 41. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 23, 2 and a half, 3 and a half, and 4 and a half, and 5 and a half, and 6 and a half, and 7 and a half, and 8 and a half, and 9 and a half. But I have been 31, 31 to the number. I got 31, 2, 3, 33. What do you say? 30, 34. How about 30, 45? You're gonna go 5, 6. So you guys should go too. How about 6, 7, 7, now 8, and 9. How about 39? You're gonna go 9. You're gonna go 100, 39, and we have silver tank at $3,800 on. Number 12, becomes a $80 on the 7 card. Right now, there it is, so we're paying that one. He says two, give it a quarter. Oh, let's see what that. 75, three threes, one quarter, and a half. And 75, 4 and a quarter, and a half, and 75, and a quarter, and a half. And a half, here, 75, gonna go 75, 5 and a half. 75, 6, and a quarter, and a quarter, and a half, and 75, gonna go 75, 7. How about 7 quarter, gonna go 7, and a quarter, and a quarter, 7, 7 and a quarter. How about a quarter, 7 and a quarter, look at that, 2 point, feature, nice, 7 and a half. How about a half? 7 and a half, 75. How about 75? Gonna go 75? How about 75? 800, not 8. How about 800, not 8? Here, he just likes to teach that, that's all. How about 8? Now a quarter. How about 825? 825, gonna go 825, and we have Soda tank, 800 online, here's number 13, here comes an old one, right there, so you write another one there down, they give about 600. Three, two and a quarter. Three and a quarter. 3 and a quarter half. I got a half on you here. This is what, how about 350, 50, 50, 350, not 75? How about 75, 400, not 4, minus 375, 4, not 4. And a quarter on, a quarter and a half, 50, we're gonna go 50, 50, not 75. How about 75, now 5, I think we're gonna need that, come on, give me a 5. I have only 75, 500, 500 here, we sort of thing. 475, number 6 is the buyer. And if only 13, well, it's, you know, all right, well, automatic, go scratch on the side there, okay, let's go down here. All right, here we go, guys, somebody give me 100. How much is that about? 3 and a quarter. 3 and a quarter, half. I got a half, city steel, not 75. Then 4 and a quarter, then a half, and 75. Now I'm at 75, minus 4 and a half. 75, 5. I got time here, time for the number. I'm not trying to remember, more time, I hear the 5. So yes, no, so that's 475, number 6 is not there. Number 15, 5. That's a 25 on the court, that, and you run, so I should have right here. I'm not going to get up, I got 3 10, wow, 3 to 4. I'm going to have 50, 5, 75, 6, 7.5, 7.5, 98, 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, and a half, use 1,000. About the 50 now, 11 now, 50 now, 12 now, 50 now, 13, and 50 now, 14, and 50, 15 and a half, 16 and a half, then 17, leave a half, 18 and a half, and 19, here, 19, gotta go 19, about 19, gotta go 19, gotta go 19, and around 19, and we have now half, and 2 grand. And 2, and 2. I got 2, 19 and a half, 2 grand. How about 2? You're gonna get 2 here, no, so that. For 19, 50, 19, 50, we'll catch this number there. Okay, what's your number there? And then, please, there you go. 180, 180 is the number. All right, John, for 100 minutes, for the 80 books in the e-jar, yeah, this one, that's okay. Hey, what about 300? What's the 9 o'clock? 3 and a quarter. I got a quarter and a quarter here, and over so it's 31 quarter half, 75, hands up. How about 75, now a quarter, now a quarter, now a half, now 75. And 75, 5, here, 90 quarter, number 5 and a quarter. I got 5 up front, 5 and a quarter. And a quarter and a quarter and a quarter, quarter down here, 5 and a quarter and a half, and 75. How about 75, minus 5 and a half? How about 5, 75, they go 75, 75, 75, and we sort of think 550 to 119, 550 to 119. And we can go up the field there, okay? If you turn here, number 17, here we go with the number 6, we're going to go. 81 tax for 100 minutes, 80 bucks a piece of your share. And then I think that will scratch about that. And you'll get 800, 800 bucks. So I got 3 and a quarter, 3 and a half. 175, and 4 and a quarter, and a half, 75. How about 75, 4 and a half, and a half, 75 online, now 5 and a quarter, and a half. How about a half, 75, and 6, 600, now a quarter, now a half. And 75, we're gonna go 75, 700. How about 7? We're gonna go 7, 7 here. How about 7? I get 7, now quarter, now half. We're gonna get 7 and a quarter here. How about 7 and a half? How about 7 and a half? Now 75. Now read 800. And now read, and now a quarter. And now a half. How about 8 and a half? Now read 75 and 9. 900, now 9. Now a quarter. And a quarter here, we get high over here, 50 now, 75. And a thousand times on the here, 1 pound to go. How about a pound to go, 30 minutes to go, that's enough. And a pound to go, 1,000 here, we have 7 over here. 90, 75, 975. And 199, 199, 5, 19, 5 there. All right, $4 if you kind of got him, we'll get a little bit. All righty, fine, David, give you, how much? 6? 6, 7. How about 7, 600 here, 7, here, 7, 6.5, how about 7, no half? How about a half? I got 7, 7.5, quarter, half, 75. How about 7, 75, only 7.5. How about 75, wrong side, 7.5. How about 7, 75, 75. Now we eat 800, not quarter, and a quarter, back on side of eat a quarter. I'm a quarter right here, 8.5, now 75, there you go, 875. 8.5, 75, 9, 9.25, and a quarter, 9's over here, how about 9.25, key, 1,000, not half. I got a half there, here's 1,000. They did. How about a half? I got a quarter, okay, now a half? How about a half? Let's see what. And 1 pound of the 50, 1 pound of the 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, and the silver tank. 10, 25, on line, right? Here we go, number 19, 2010, how will be 4? 4.5, right here. See, you're talking to your friend over there, pay attention to me. Well, pay attention to me, don't talk to your friend. Okay, fine. Here we go, here's number 9, I got 4.5, 75, 5, and a quarter, and a half. How about a half, 1 here, 50, 50, right over here, 75. 75, 6 and a quarter, 6.5, 75. How about 75, 7 and a quarter, and a half. How about a half, 7 and a quarter, 7.5. How about a half, 75, now eat. How much is it done? Now we eat 800, now we eat, here we're gonna go, we eat 775. How about 800, now it's 800, and a quarter, eat 25 and a half. How about 850, 825. Hey, 150, 50, we're gonna go 50, 50, 150, 50, now, 75, 75. 199. How about 9? We're gonna go 9 first. You're up. 9. How about 9 and 11? 900. 9. We're gonna go 9 and a quarter. A quarter and a half. 9.5. 175. Left on site. 9.5. 975. There's your move up. Two purses up. See the two first. 975. Out of 1,000. Out of 1,000 go. Meet you on a quarter. I have 10. I do. I'm at 10 and a quarter. How about 10 and a quarter and a quarter here? And a quarter. What do you say? I'm at 10 and a quarter, and we have something over here for 1,000 even. 1,000 even. Number 18, I think, number 18 is tomorrow. All right, any further roll down for the line minutes, we're gonna run it, take the second here now. Hey, somebody give me common sense. He said, oh, take 5. You want 5? I got a half. Now 5. 5, got a half, and 6. How about 6? How about a half 6? How about 6? 70 pound of work. Now 6. Now a quarter. Now a quarter, 600, 6 and a quarter. How about 6 and a quarter? A quarter, half, 75, 7 and a quarter. I have 7 here, need a quarter. A quarter, half, 7.5, 75. How about 75? 7.5 over here. How about 775? 75, 75, 75, and we have 75 each, 800, and a quarter. And a quarter back on side of each. How about 8 and a quarter? 8 and a quarter, 2 first zero. How about 825, 825, 853 versus in, 8 and a quarter, 8 and a half. How about 850, 50, 850, and silver for the guy with the pink purse, 825. Yeah. Here we go. Here's number 21. Here comes number 7. Sure, we go around here. Somebody get about 800. How about they get about 4, 4.5? 1.5, 5. How about 5 around over here? 5, 5. How about 4, 5.5, 75, 6, 7.5. 75, 7, and a quarter, and a half. And now 75, 75, 7.5 here, 75 each, 800, and a quarter, 825, each, 8 and a quarter, half, 75, 875, 875, 75, 900. How about 9? We're gonna go 9. Come on, guys. How about yes, sir, 9, and a quarter, and a quarter, quarter, half. How about a half? How about a half again? Now 75. How about 75? We're going to 75 and 1,000, and 1,000. And 1,000, 975, take 1,000 and a quarter, and a quarter, 10 and a quarter, 10, 10 and a quarter. How about 10 and a quarter? A quarter would be quarter, half, and a half, 2 first, jump back in, 10 and a quarter, 10 and a half. How about 1,050? Gonna go 50, 50, and we silver for the 2 first, 1,025. That's all right. Here's number 22. Here's an 07. Hey, green folder, right? All right, here's time. You can give a five. How about five around a five? 3 grand, 31, oh, 300, 400, 500, 600, 600, 700. How about a half? 6 and a half? I got 6 over there. How about 6 and a quarter? 6 and a half, 75, 7. How about 7, 7 and a quarter? I got 7 here, 7 and a quarter. And a quarter, 7 and a quarter, 7 and a quarter. You're right, yes, sir. How about 7 and a quarter? Feet, now, 75. How about 75? Money 7 and a half over here. How about 775? On line, 8 and a quarter. And a quarter. Here we're back to the side of 8, 25 and a half. We have a 50. How about 50 now? 75, 75, 900 dollars. How about 9 here? $900. How about $900? $900. Coach first, you're up. How about 9? We're going to go 9 here. No, so we got 9 and a quarter. The coach first, jump back in. 925. How about 925? Well, so for the coach first bidder for $900. Hey, here's number 23. This is 2018. How many RV? It goes on down for 135 here now. All right, so we can give up to how much? 2 grand? I got 3 girls here, 21, 22, 23, 25, 16, 7, 8, 9 here. 30, 31, 31, 32, and 3, negative 3, 33, 132, and 34, 5, 6, 7. There you go, 37, 8, 38, 37, 8, 9 here, 4 grand. Now, 42, 42, 41, take 2, 3. How about 43? It's an easy fix, guys. 43, 44. How about 44, 5, 6, 46, 7. I got 7, now 8, 48, 9. And 90, 0, 5, 8, 51, 52, 53, 54. How about 4? We're going to go 4 down, 5, 55, and 6. How about 6, 7, then 8, and 9, 59. What do you say? How about 9, 6 grand, 61. How about 1, 61? We might be shooting one now. How about 61? 6 grand over here. How about 61? And I sold a tank for 6,000. Number 4, model. Right here we go with number 24. It's not cute. Everyone said, quarter hundred nights, if you're wrong, you pay the how about down we go, 5 to go. How about down about some level? We should 3 and a half, and 4 and a half. I got half on my 5. How about 5, 5, 75 pounds, 500 dollars, and a quarter, and a half, and a 50, and a 50, how about a quarter, how about a half. I got my 50, 50 now, 75, 6, 100. How about 6, 75, take 6. How about 600, 600 and a quarter, and a half, and 15, 650. How about 650, 650, now 75. How about 675, 75. 675, 75 here, so thank 650 online. Right here we go with 5 cars and all on right here, right? Next, on that, what is in 800? I got 3 and a quarter. How about 3 and a quarter and a half, 50, 50, 3 and a 50? I got 50, I got 50, okay, 75, 4. How about 400? 375, 4. How about 400? 400, 400 down here, and I sold. That 375, number 4 is here's phone number 26. It's an old set. Let's see, 1. There's a lot of medicine around here. We need 700. How about this? I don't know if you find. That's a problem. I got 2 and a quarter. How about 2 and a quarter? 2 and a quarter, 2, 2 and a quarter, 2 and a half, 275, 3, 3 and a quarter, and a half. How about 3 and a half? 3 and a quarter, 3 and a half on line. Now 75, 4. How about 4? 3, 75, 4. Now a quarter, now half. I got 15, 40, 50, now 75, 5. How about 700? Not 5, not 5, not 5, not quarter, not quarter. How about a half? If I can say, on a quarter. Number 5 and a half. I got 15, you're gonna go 50, 50, 50, and I sold the tank. All right, 25, number 4, which is right here, number 27. Here's a 77. All right, here's a big old. stretch on the rise, you should pay a lot of money for that. Right, for an automatic, good title car, down for the pounds. How about pounds ago? That's it, but it took my garage, it's too long. You have a five. Yeah, I know, 3.5, so it's double, so it's like on the street, 3.75, 4, not 4. How about quarter, now a half, now 75, then 5, then a quarter, how about a quarter, how about a half, then 75, then 6, how about 6, 5, 75 here, 6, how about 6 and a quarter and a half, I got a half, you got a half, 75, 7, how about 7 and a quarter here, 7 and a quarter, 7 and a half, 75. How about 75? I think he does. How about 775? 8? How about 8? Now 4, 8, 25, 8, 25, 850. 850, see that? Of course, steps on the rise. 875. 875, 9, 40, 945, 9's a bit. 40, 950. 950, we're going to sell all the time. 9.5, 975. How about 975,000? How about down the road, down the road, where how much? 10 and a quarter, guys, I have 10 and a quarter. How about 1,050, you gotta go 50, 50, that's 75, 1,100. How about 11 here in a quarter, 11 here in a quarter, how about 10 and a quarter, 10 and a half. 10 and a half, and 175, 1175, 1175, yeah, 1175, 12, 12, how about you a dollar and a quarter and a quarter? Come on, guys, let's go. I get 12 and a quarter. I didn't choose a quarter. 12 and a quarter, 12 and a half, 75. How about 75, 12 and a half, 75, and 13, and a quarter, 13 here. I need a quarter. How about 20, 13 and a quarter, and a half, 13, 50, 75. How about 75? Good thing I can't see my head on it. How about 13, 75, 14 and a quarter? How about quarter? 14 is red. I need a quarter, now half. How about half? 1,450? And a 50, we're gonna go 50, 50, we're gonna 75, we're gonna go 75. Come on, who's first? Let's go. I got 15, you're gonna go 15 and a half. I got half, I got 15. 15 and a half, there we go. And a half, 16. How about 16? You're gonna go 16. How about 16? No half, 17, you're gonna go 17. And 17, what do you say? 16 and a half, 17 and a half. How about that? 1750. Good thing I got my first to go. 17 and a half. 18. How about 18? You're going to go 18. 1800 and a half. 18 and a half. What's the cost? 18, how about 50? You're going to go 50, 50, 50, 19. 19. What do you say? How about 1900? You're going to go 19. How about 19? Give me 19. No, how about 1920? How about 1950? 50. You're going to go, hey, there we go. And a half, and 2 grand. How much are you going to get 2 grand? Yeah, no, but 2. How much are you going to get 2 grand? Oh, so 10. 1950 online, 1950 online, that's the correct one. Here's number 28, 16, number, Ford Dash, 400. How about 3 quarter, you want a quarter? I got 3 already, quarter, half. How about a half, 75, 4, and a quarter, and a half, and a half, and now 75, 500, and a quarter, 25, and a half, 75, how about a half, 75, 6, now a quarter, how about a quarter, 6 over here, 6 and a quarter, how about a quarter, yeah, I got 6 over here, 6 and a quarter, 675, 7, and a quarter, 7's on site, 7 and a quarter, half, I got a half, 75, 75, 800, now a quarter, now a half, and a half, 75, and 900. How about 9 another, now a quarter, now a half. How about a half, how about 15, now 75, now 1,000. And 1,000, now a quarter, now a half, now 50. Now a 50, 75, you're gonna go 75, 1100, now a quarter. And a quarter, need a quarter. A quarter, now a half, 1100, 75, and a 12. How about 12, 1200, you're gonna get 12, that means 75, 12. 12, 12 and a quarter, 12 and a half. How about a half? Let us see one. Underneath, 12 and a half, 75. 75? I got 75, 75, 13. How about 13? Here we go 13, here we go 13, 13, and I have
3 seconds,
silver.
2, 1.
Silver thing, 12, 75. And then, here. Guys, what's your number tonight? Let me see. 89, thank you, sir. Come on up to the window for me, please. All right, here's car 29. There we go. Here it is, the 2000 Infiniti G20 model. All right, guys, here it is. What do you say here? Quarter manual trans, good title, all right. Hey, somebody gets one, $500. How about $400? $200, two and a quarter, two and a half, 75, three, now quarter. I got three here, three and a quarter. How about three and a quarter? Okay, now I'm 75. I got 75, three and a half, 275. How about 75? I'm gonna go through 75, 75, 75, and I sold it. $350 for the number four to buy. Here's number 35. Hey guys, if that was time, get you come up, and then when you guys come to the window. One of you guys up here at the window, they're looking for you. Big boy in line. Okay, number 30, 49, on the accent. Shooter, automatic, what do you say? 1,000. How about high? I got $400 here, three and a quarter, three and a half, 375. How about 75? Four and a quarter, four and a half, 75. I got 75, four and a half, 75. 75, 5, I got good enough 5. I have 75, 5, I got good enough 5 and a quarter, I'm 75. I do, now 5 and a quarter, now 5 and a half, 75. How about 75? I'm gonna go by 75, and 600 and a quarter, and a quarter on, 6 on site, 6 and a quarter and a half, now 75. How about 675? I'm gonna go 75, 7 and a quarter. How about quarter, 7's over here, 7 and a quarter. How about 7 and a quarter, 7 and a quarter, B and a quarter, B and a quarter, what are you saying? And we have 7 at 700, number 8 is Smile. Hey guys, okay, what's up? You gotta come up to the window. Okay, thank you. Here's number 31, here's number 7. All right, over $100. Hey, we're gonna get title card down, say, what are you gonna pay down here now? Hey, gonna give you about 800, 800 bucks, 500 bucks, 375, 4, now a quarter. And a quarter's here, need a quarter, now a half, 75. How about 75? Gonna go 75, 4 and a half. 475, and a 5, and a quarter, and a quarter, pound here, need a quarter, what do you say? How about pound a quarter, pound and a half, and 75, how about 75, I'm gonna go 75, how about 75, 600, and a quarter, 625, 6 3, 6 and a quarter, how about 6 and a quarter, 6 and a half, how about 6 and a half, now 75, I'm gonna go 75, 675, 6 and a half, how about 675, 700, how about 7? We're gonna go 7, 7 here, what do you do? How about 7? We're gonna go 7 here, we set the thing for 675 online. Then we got number 32, 20, 23. All right, you're gonna have this one here is, yeah. Anyways, I keep it flat. And here we go, it's coming up 1,000. We're gonna get there anyways, so might as well do it. 3, 4. I got 3 and 4 here, you're gonna go $400 here, 4, 5. How about $500 here, he's 4, take 5, take a half, and quarter, half. How about half, no 75? How about 75 pounds, $500 left quarter, easy enough, 5 on site. How about 5 and a quarter, 5 and a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter, down here, the quarter, half, and a half, 5 and a quarter, 5 and a half, 75. 75, 6. How about 6 you both off, 6, and a quarter, and a quarter. One is over here at 6. How about 6 and a quarter, 6 and a quarter, and a quarter, quarter, and a half, here, 50, now 75. How about 75, both ends of the option, now 7. How about 7, and a quarter, and a quarter, we're up here at 7, 7 and a quarter, half. How about a half, now 7 and a quarter, 7 and a half. I got a half, now 75, I'm gonna go 75, 7 and a half, 75, 8, 8, now a quarter, and a quarter, he's in the 8 and a quarter, and a quarter, now a quarter, now a half, now 75, 8, 75, come on guys, let's go, 8, 75, 9, 9 and a quarter, and a quarter, and a quarter here, got 8. How about 9 and a quarter, and a quarter here, quarter, half, and a half, that's 75, 975. I got a half here, 975, 1,000, and a quarter, see how close we're gonna get there. I got 10, 10 and a quarter, I got a quarter, now a half, 75. 75, 11, and a quarter. And a quarter, 11 here, 11 and a quarter. Come on, Pete, first, let's go. 11 and a quarter, and a quarter, quarter here, so, okay. Yeah, 1100, put them on number 8. 32,000, ready to check, Pete. 41 minutes, everyone, sorry, sorry, I got 30, 30 and a quarter, and a quarter, 30, 30 and a quarter and a half. I got 50, 50, 50, 53 and a half, not 75. How about 75, 3 and a half? How about 30, 75, 75, 75, and 7, that's 3, 50, number 16, 34, 50,000. Here, quarter, 100, good type of those. I got time to go. 3, 3 and a quarter. I got 3, 3 and a quarter, 3 and a half. I got a half. 75, 4 and a half. 4 and a half. What was the one? How about 5 nickels? How about 5 and a half? How about half an American 600? How about 6? We're going to go 600 here, 575. 575, we're going to go 75, 75, 75, 75 here. 75. 75. 6. How about 6? 6 nickels. How about 600 pounds, 75, 72, how about 600, so okay. 75, number 65, 35, 6 to go. I get 5 and a half, 6. Six and a half. About half on the 7, we go 7, 7 here, 7, 675, 7 and a quarter and a half. Got a half, 75, got 8 and a quarter and a half, and 75, 9 and a quarter and a half, got a half, and 75, pounds and dollars and a quarter. I got 40 and a half, 75, 11. How about 11 and a quarter? 11's over here, 11 and a quarter, a quarter and a half. How about a half? What's this one? 11, 50, 75, and 12. How about 12? 12 and a quarter, you see what's slow. A quarter and a half, 75, 13. How about 13? You guys are all slow, look like old ladies. 13 and a quarter, a quarter and a half, and a half, and a half. Hey, wake up, a half, 75. How about 75? 75, 14. 14 and a quarter. And a quarter, I got 14 here, give me a quarter. Give me a quarter, and a half. How about a half? 14 and a quarter, 14 and a half. And now 75. How about 75? 15, we're gonna go 15 and a half, 15 and a half. Who's first? Yeah, I got a half here, 16. What's this? How about 16, 16 and a half? Got a half, 16 over here. How about half? Okay, 17. How about 17? We're gonna go 17. We're gonna go 17. You got the paper sheet up here? 17 will be 4. 16, 50 online. Okay. Here's number 36. There's number 64. Okay. Got that pen there. Nice one. I got 5, 3 and a half, 4. I got 4, 4 and a half. I got half, 5 and a half. Here's hand 6. I got 6 and a half. A quarter, half, 75. I got 75, 7, 700. How about 7, 6, 75, 7. How about 7, we go 7, we go 7, 7, here we have 7. A quarter and a half, 75. How about 75? Come on, guys, speak first, wake up. How about 7, 75, 75, 800? How about 800? 800. How about 8? Who's first? You can. How about 8? No? So, at 7, 75, okay? And there's an old thing down here. That's fine. Okay, guys, right? And let's see, the purpose, not bad. How much? 3,000? How about down we go? 3, 4. How about 400, 300, 400 here, 3 and a half over here, 3 and a half over and a half, and 5. How about 5? How much 4 and a half, 5? How about 500, 500, and a 5, 475, we're going to go 475, 75. Give me 75, 5. How about 5? How about 5? Now a quarter. A quarter and a half. How about a half? How about a quarter here, half here, now 75, and 6. How about 6? Now a quarter, 625, all right, 6 up here. How about 6 and a quarter, 6 and a quarter, and a quarter down here, we 600. 600, remember, 6 is the buyer, okay? Chance, precious. All right, there it is, and let's see here. Okay. Nine. Number nine, I got three quarters. I got three already, three and a quarter, going up and down, three and a half, 7.4, and a quarter, and a half. 75, and a quarter. And a half, I'm gonna have 75, I'm gonna go 75, six. I'm gonna six, and a quarter, and a half, 650, six and a quarter. I'm gonna have, go 75, I'm gonna go 75, 675. How about 675, I'm gonna go 75, 75, 7. 659 on line, there's a line, how we keep them all. All right, now,
Manual transmission.
manual transmission, no problem. There you go. Yeah, he likes manual transmission, just you, huh? Here we go. Hey, 1,000. I got five, I'm gonna have six and a half, and seven, I'm gonna have, and eight and a half, and nine and a half, and a half, no thousand, no half, and a half, 11, and a half, and 12, and a half, 13, 13 and a half, 14 and a half, 13 and a half. I got 15 over here, I got 16 and a half, 17 and a half, 18. About 18 and a half, 18, 15, on side of 18 and a half, 19, 19 and a half, and 2 grams and a half, and one. About 21, 26 is over here. I got 21, now a half, and a half, 21 and a half, 21 here, and a half here, now 2, now a half. About a half, 22 is the money, 22 and a half, 23, you got half?
I got a half.
Not 23, 23 and a half, now 4. How about 24, there's 4, now a half, and 5. How about 5, minus 24 and a half, 25, 25 and a half. How about 25 and a half? How about 25 and a half, 5 and a half, 26, 26, 25 and a half on line. How about 26, you guys all three up? How about 26, now half? How about a half, 26, how about 50, you gotta go 50, 50, you got 50, you may. Oh, the thing, 26, and you're on line, oh, God, this is 160, give me a kind of car, and it's okay, yeah. 5 gallons of water, going to do that. And here we go, we'll go to the time. I got time to go, 4, 5, 4 and a half, 5. I got time to go, and a half, 550 on this one. I got a half and say 60, 75, 79, 40, and a half. How about a half? 6 out of 50, or here, 75, 7, not 40, not 40. At a half, 75, we go 75, there's all. How about 75, 7 and a half up here, 75, 8 on the side, now a quarter, now a half. You saw it again, 8 and a half, 8, 75. 875, 9 and a quarter, 925, 9's bid. How about 9 and a quarter, 925, and a half, and 75. How about 75, 975, add a half here. How about 75, and a thousand, and a quarter, come on, people, let's go. How about 10 and a quarter, and a quarter here, a quarter and a half, and 75. How about 75, you wanna go 75, and 75, people, let's go. How about 11, and a quarter, and a quarter, she's up again. How about 11 and a quarter, 11 and a quarter, 1 and a half, and 75, there goes 75. How about 75, 11, 75, and 75, 12, 1200, and a quarter, 1245, follows money. How about 12 and a quarter, you got 43, 42 and a half, and now 75. How about 75, come on, let's go. How about 1275, 13, how about 13, take first, return, and a quarter. And a quarter, 13 is bad, 13 and a quarter. How about 4, you need a quarter, now 13, how about 15, now 75. How about 75, I'm gonna go 75, right back here. 14, now about 14, we're gonna go 1400. Here's really one now, 14, no, so. At 1375, one line, that's a nice second. Right, so oh, 3 miles here, there's no more, no change, which is what you get, and there it is. It's a 4 sign left. Hey, so, everything should be.
I got 3 and a half.
About 3, 3 and a half, 4. I got 75, 4 and a quarter, and a quarter here, and a quarter. How about 4 and a quarter, and a quarter, and a half, 75, 5, and a quarter. How about 5 and a quarter, 8 and a half, 950. And 50, you're gonna go 50, 50, 50, you're gonna go 50, less, 75, you're gonna go 70, plus 6. Number 600, number 600, 600, here, there goes 600, my forward, forward, now high, 50. Number 50, 50 now, 75, you're gonna go 75, 675. How about 675, 75, 75, and we sort. So 6.5 online. All right, guys, pay your bills, get your cars out of the yard, and we'll see you next Thursday, next Thursday evening, all right? Thank you very much.